What's up, y'all? As always, bringing you the latest news about the game. Today we have a few event notices as well as a new content spotlight, which we'll go over in a second. So starting off, of course, I'll go briefly through both of the events as there's really nothing new we haven't seen yet. So there is, first of all, the Burning Time event, where once again for what is it like until the 3rd of January. It seems like they butchered the release date, as it's definitely not 13th of what's the month called? December. Yeah, it only started today, so it looks like they just made a typo here. From today up until the 3rd of January, we will be getting 30% more Monster Hunter XP, Dungeon Clear XP, and more gold. So this affects dungeons, various raids, and stuff like that. And if nothing really new, just a repeat of the previous few Burning Time events. Then of course there is once again a 5-day quiz where you can get some rewards. This time the rewards are actually a little better. So these 4 are nothing special. However, you do get 30 Essence Dungeon tickets on the last day, and that's quite expensive actually. I would say that's like in the thousands as far as crystal value goes. And of course, if you want to answer all 5 of them correct, you get 5 mystical scrolls this time instead of 3. So make sure to do those quizzes as well. And now for the new content spotlight. So we're getting something called a hero area, as well as a new Nat 5 unit called the BEETLE Knight, which I've already briefly mentioned in the previous update video. So for the hero area, so it looks like this will be a new scenario area in each of the 5 regions, and basically you will be able to sort of AFK farm in them for better rewards than you could using the current creatures that were available on each region. So yeah, let's just quickly read through it. Hero area is available after progressing area exploration, World of Fisher. Hero areas exist on each continent, and there are a total of 6 hero areas. I mean, there are 5 continents, unless they are counting the main island as the 6th one, but we'll yet to see that. Monsters from each area are much more powerful than the ones on the normal fields. In the hero area, you can obtain various items by region, such as legend runes, engraved stones of each attribute, magical rune pieces, tough leather, and altered leather. So first of all, legend runes are already looking like a decent reward. However, I hope that these rewards are not only from bosses, but you can actually get them from regular units. Engraved stone, that seems familiar. I'm not sure if we do have an engraved stone. We'll have to see about that. Magical rune piece, this is also a new item that's coming out, I believe. Unless they are referencing the current upgrade rune pieces. Let me see the name of them. Rune piece. No, that is called the rune enhancement stone. So this might be the new item for rune crafting. And also tough leather and altered leather. You can craft 5-star hero and legend runes with alchemy using the engraved stones of each attribute and magical rune pieces you obtained. So it will be interesting to see how the rune crafting turns out. Hopefully it's not too expensive and does not require too many of those faint magic cores, as they are pretty difficult to obtain currently. Tough leather and altered leather can be used to craft outfits. You can also obtain magical rune pieces and engraved stones of each attribute through weekly quests held for each continent's hero area. There are also boss creatures in Heroes area that appear randomly. Baphomet, one of the bosses. I believe Baphomet is the guy in Trial of Ascension 200, or is it 100 perhaps? Appears very rarely, so the hero area should be closely observed, and the effect of each hero area as follows. So yeah, for each area you have a certain effect. So for most of them, it's the enemies will deal 200% increased damage and take 35% less damage from a certain attribute. So for these ones, I think they directly counter the element on that region. Since Teska has fire monsters, Aya has wind monsters, and Fluence has water monsters, so these will be direct counters. However, for light and dark, it looks like Rokurangma and Rudlin might be the easier regions, as you will not get a lot of those restrictions with regular units you would use. So for example, Rudlin has, I believe they have water monsters, and essentially you will be able to use wind without any punishment. As well as for Kurangma, since they have fire monsters, the dark attribute restriction should not be effective unless they do something like change up the elements and actually make units in Rokurangma light and units in Rudlin dark type. Then they will matter quite a bit, but we're yet to see that. And yeah, definitely excited to see how it plays out, as currently if you do not have a good event where you can AFK farm, a lot of the gameplay potential kind of loses its value, as hunting regular monsters or gathering materials is still very locked behind gold or the items you drop. So we'll see how that plays out. And for the new monster Beetle Knight, I'll briefly look over in the forum notice, as I'll be going in game and read their exact skills. So the Beetle Knight is a powerful knight slash warrior type monster. Beetle Knight exists in two types: warrior type that attacks the enemy using poison and fear, and knight type that stands in the front line with airborne, continuous recovery, critical resistance up, and provoke. Monster types for each attribute follows. We'll skip that and we'll jump over to the monsters in game. And now jumping into the Beetle Knight showcase, or rather skill reading, sort of. So first of all, first skill, nothing special, just a decent multiplier. The second skill, Lance Charge, charges towards the attack the enemies within the area, airbornes them with a certain chance and provokes them. So looks like a purely CC skill. Could be decent for PvP, but pretty useless for most PvE cases. Third skill applies attack down and crit damage down to enemies within the area with the power of the shield. Okay, so it looks like he's a tank and a CC unit slash debuffer, so pretty decent for frontline it looks like. Attack down and crit damage down. I do like those debuffs, however, as I use Water Cleave for PvE a lot as well, he already has attack down and he also has attack speed down, so it kind of overlaps a bit. However, if you pair those two, that will be way too insane for pretty much destroying the enemy's damage potential. For other summoners, it will definitely be a decent tank in my opinion. We'll have to see how that plays out, as the cooldown does not allow you to keep up those effects permanently. And Hellfire Chitin, Beetle Knight becomes immune to provoke if a team member gets a beneficial effect removed or stolen, uses Hellfire Charge on the target that removed or stole the effect. And the Hellfire Charge charges towards the enemy target and deals damage based on defense, removes all beneficial effects on the target and silences with a certain chance. The damage increases based on the number of beneficial effects the target has. Okay. So wait, well, the damage potential is not too great here, but it removes all beneficial effects and silences for 11 seconds. And it has a 12-second cooldown, so basically if you have a stripper on the enemy team, he can silence it pretty consistently and upkeep the silence for the majority of the time. Okay, and the ultimate creates a shield area to apply attack down and crit damage down to enemies within the area every second. This effect is only applied within the shield area. Okay. It's hard to say how long the shield area lasts, as it doesn't specify here. The debuffs themselves are level 1 attack buff, attack down and crit damage down for 20 seconds. However, it will tick every second, but yeah, still unsure on how long it will last. So quite interested to see that. Right, and jumping over to the water one, so the basic attack are the same as the fire one, just a decent multiplier. Lance charge charges towards to attack enemies within the area, airbones them with a certain chance, and applies defense down to the target. Ooh, level 2 defense down. That is pretty useful. And the cooldown is definitely pretty decent for the debuff. That allows you to upkeep for like 80% of the time. Iron Shield applies movement speed down to enemies within that area with the power of shield, and applies crit resistance up and continuous recovery to allies within the area. Movement speed down and crit resistance up. Okay, so it looks like these Beetle Knights, at least the fire and the water one, create some sort of an area where essentially if you are in that area, either you are in or if the enemies are in, you will be getting some sort of buffs, and the enemy will be getting some sort of debuffs. So depending on how big that area is, it looks like it favors matchups that happen in that specific area and do not go outside its border. So first of all, I'm thinking that mostly melee champions will benefit from this. So both the monsters as well as summoners like Cleave will definitely have an advantage over the ranged ones. However, yeah, it does depend on how big the range is. But yeah, definitely an interesting mechanic there. And his passive, wow, 2-minute cooldown. Beetle Knight becomes immune to provoke when the summoner takes death-inflicting damage, ignores the damage, then applies Endure to the summoner and recovers the summoner's HP. The recovery is based on its max HP, wow, 50% heal for the summoner, and Endure for 14 seconds. So basically Cleave's passive, but on any summoner. So, I'm kind of curious how that works with Cleave's current passive, because he does get Endure during lethal damage as well. So I'm not sure whether this passive will get procced together with Cleave's passive, or it will allow one of the passives to proc first and then the other passive will proc. Because if that's the case, this unit will definitely be pretty good for all three summoners, especially the Kina and what's it called, Orbia, as they do not have anything similar to that. If it does not stack and they both proc at the same time, this unit will actually be pretty unusable for Cleave users, so which is a little bit of a shame. But yeah, quite interested to see how that works out, especially the interaction between Cleave and this passive. And Ultimate Iron Shield creates a shield to apply movement speed down to enemies within the area, applies critical resistance up to allies within the area, and recovers their HP. This effect only applies within the shield area. The recovered amount is based on the target's max HP. So it's like a static shield type unit, but geared more towards healing and buffs rather than debuffs on the enemy. Pretty interesting, I'd say, pretty interesting. And now the wind one, first skill, the same thing. Second skill, charges towards to attack the enemies within the area, airbones them with a certain chance, and silences the target. Ooh. Oh, if the target has electric shock. Oh, I instantly don't like that, as not a lot of units have electric shock on them. Third skill, applies defense up to allies within the area with the power of shield and provokes enemies within the certain chance. Wait, that's it? Looks a little bit underwhelming. Electrocuting shitten. Oh wow, I don't know how to spell that. Beetle Knight becomes immune to provoke when attacked by an enemy, replaces defense up that the enemies within the area have with defense down, and discharges lightning that applies electric shock. Ooh. So half of the passive only works if the enemy has defense up, so it's already targeted at stuff like Shannon or any other defense AoE buffing units, but very situational in my opinion. And electric shock for 10 seconds to go with his second skill I believe. So there is potential to do silence plus electric shock, however I'm not a big fan of the interaction. And his ultimate creates a shield area to apply defense up to allies within the area every second and recovers its HP. In addition, provokes enemies within the area every second with a certain chance. This effect is only applied within the shield area. Okay, so this guy looks like he mostly specializes in defense buffing and in some situations defense breaking and silence. And recovers HP by 73% of death. It's hard to say how much that will scale. I think potentially you're looking at, for decent builds, at like 4,000 to 5,000, maybe 6,000 defense on your unit. So potentially on average you will be getting like 3,000 to 5,000 heals every second. It's definitely not bad, but nowhere near the potential that Konami or stuff like Lulu can provide. So I'm not a big fan of the wind one, but yeah, once again we'll see how he works out in once released. The light one, first skill is similar. Certitius, that's a name. The second skill, Lance Charge, charges towards to attack enemies within the area and removes a beneficial effect. Ooh. Applies block beneficial effect if the target doesn't have any beneficial effects. Okay, so this guy is definitely focused on stripping. Removes one beneficial and block is for 16 seconds. Okay. The Iron Shield increases the level of all beneficial effects on nearby allies with the power of the shield and provokes enemies within the area with a certain chance. Applies continuous recovery to allies without continuous recovery. Increases beneficial effect levels by 2. That's actually big, you know. Oh, I like that. However, you do really need to combo it with another unit. So without any other units, he will be pretty useless. Well, not without any units, but without units that give a lot of decent buffs. And the buffs must stack, of course, so stuff like immunity or endure, of course, don't count. But yeah, that one is pretty interesting. You could make some decent combos with this, especially for buffs that have low levels or are really hard to obtain. And if you can increase them by 2 levels, that could be pretty big in some cases. Okay, exhaustion shitten, I don't know how to spell it. Beetle Knight becomes immune to provoke, removes beneficial effect on the target within a certain chance when attacked by an enemy. 6-second cooldown. Yeah, so he's definitely pretty good at stripping buffs and preventing buffs. Potentially you're looking at him being really good for expedition, as after the endure buff, the fire raven will no longer be able to go through that endure. So for example, the light directly will be way easier to counter, and he has potential to be really great at it, as he can remove a buff at every 6 seconds. Okay, interesting. Ultimate Iron Shield creates a shield area to apply continuous recovery to ally within the area, then increases the level of all beneficial effects on all allies within the area every second, and removes a beneficial effect on enemies within the area with a certain chance. This effect is only applied within the shield area. Wait, he increases all beneficial effect level by 1 every second. That is insane. Wait, no. Wait. So does that mean you can get some sort of a rare buff at level 1 and just buff it up to level 10? That seems a bit OP. Oh, I'm a big fan of the light one, actually. Definitely the best by far, in my opinion. And the dark one, first skill, the same thing. Second skill, charges toward the attack enemies within the area, airbombs them with a certain chance, and explodes poison if the target has poison. Okay. Oh, so that's very similar to the Fire Fairy. In terms of exploding the not the beneficial effects, what we call the poison effect, and as well does he apply poison? No, he does not apply poison. Okay. Third skill, he does apply poison. Applies poison to enemies within the area with the power of the shield, and applies fear with a certain chance. Okay, so what is fear exactly? Oh, it's very similar to the Naraka effect, where units basically run away from you. Okay, so the poison and the poison explosion instantly seems like he will be good for the seal, the ruin temple thingy, where you are only able to damage the boss with dots. Interesting. Passive Beetle Knight becomes immune to provoke, increases the team's summoner ultimate gauge every time Beetle Knight successfully lands a CC effect on the enemy. Okay, so he won't be good for bosses. At least the passive will not be good for bosses. And applies poison to the target when attacked by an enemy. Never mind, I changed it back. He will be good for some bosses, so yeah, definitely super OP for the seal, as you can get level 1 poison for 25 seconds every 3 seconds, so that will stack up quite a bit. Well, in like 30 seconds you are looking at a level 10 poison effect. And ultimate creates a shield that area to explode poison on the enemies within the area and applies poison to them every second. This effect is only applied within the shield. Yeah, so definitely just fully focused on damage over time. However, I'm a bit worried that he will only be good for the seal and not as much else as... Well, I mean, if you are doing PvP, you are not looking at doing damage through damage over time, as first of all, that's very slow, and second of all, you do need to consistently land those debuffs, which is another complicated thing. But yeah, he looks mostly good for all of the PvE dungeons and mostly the seal. So yeah, definitely decent unit for PvE, however not a lot of PvP potential in my opinion. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed this little overview of the new units that are coming. I believe they are coming on Thursday next week. And yeah, I'll see you in the next one.